Hey guys, tonight we're going to the late Georgian era, London, roughly 1790, and you're waking up in a townhouse that
Fresh
smells
oysters.
faintly of
Get your
coal
oysters
dust,
here.
cold ashes, and yesterday's
Fine
lavender
silk
water.
ribbons. Get
Outside, the
finest
street
ribbons.
vendors are already shouting about oysters and
Fresh
ribbons, but you, lucky creature, are
Ribbons.
safely cocooned
Fine
in a
ribbons for
four-poster
your
bed
hair.
draped with enough embroidered fabric to cover a small continent. Somewhere in the next room, a maid pokes at the fireplace and a bell rings faintly. The sound that means your morning is about to get far more complicated than it needs to be. You stretch, maybe yawn, realizing that in this world, even breakfast has rules. More rules than your local tax code. There's an etiquette manual thicker than your pillow, explaining how to sit, sip, and even glance at a roll without appearing vulgar. You probably won't survive this socially, not unless you learn to balance a silver spoon like a diplomat at peace talks. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You rise from the bed, shivering as your feet hit the bare wooden floor. The fire hasn't quite caught, so the air still has that sharp, tinny bite that makes you instantly wish for another blanket. Your maid helps you into your linen shift, your stays, your gown. Layers upon layers that feel more architectural than comfortable. Georgian mornings are not meant for comfort. They're designed to remind you of your place in the cosmic hierarchy of teacups. As you step into the breakfast parlor, you notice the light. It's not sunlight exactly. London's fog and coal smoke have turned it into a silvery haze, but it glances off the mirrors, the polished mahogany, and the brass candlesticks. Even the air feels curated. The household is awake, and breakfast, you quickly learn, is a sort of performance. The head of the house, still half swaddled in his dressing gown, sits at the head of the table, a newspaper drooping in one hand and a grim expression fixed on his face. His wig tilts slightly, suggesting that even gentlemen have their bad hair days. The lady of the house presides at the opposite end, in charge of the teapot and the subtle orchestration of conversation. You, the guest, have the dubious honor of sitting somewhere in between, far enough from both ends to be uncertain whose mood to match. The table itself gleams with china imported from the East India Company, each cup thin enough to see light through it. The patterns, blue dragons, peonies, tiny clouds, hint at the centuries of trade and questionable colonial ambition that made this breakfast possible. Historians still argue whether the Georgians drank more tea for fashion or for genuine addiction, but by the looks of your hostess's steady pouring hand, it's clearly both. A plate of toast arrives, perfectly browned over the fire, and you discover the first unwritten rule. Never reach for the butter first. A servant stands silently at your elbow, watching, waiting. He'll do this breading, thank you very much. Touching the knife yourself would suggest either impatience or, worse, independence, which neither pair well with marmalade. Your hostess smiles faintly, the kind of smile that says she's cataloging every word you're about to utter. You sip your tea, too hot, pretending it's fine, and manage a murmured compliment about the weather. That's safe territory. Everyone can agree the weather is dreadful. It's in these little exchanges that Georgian politeness lives and breathes. Half performance, half survival instinct. The wrong remark about politics, religion, or even the latest scandal at court could freeze the air faster than a frost on the Thames. One gentleman at the far end clears his throat, about to mention the Prince of Wales, and instantly regrets it as forks pause midair. You make a mental note. Royalty, like herring, should be served cold and sparingly. But for every rigid rule, there's also a quiet absurdity. Some guests bring their own teaspoons, literally. It's considered fashionable in certain circles, as if carrying personalized cutlery somehow proves refinement. Others boast about owning porcelain so delicate it must be stored in separate padded boxes, each insured like a small estate. Somewhere in Bath, a lady once threw a tantrum because her tea arrived in a cup from the wrong set. Historians still argue whether it was an early symptom of caffeine dependency or just extreme boredom. As the meal unfolds, you begin to sense the rhythm. Pour, sip, compliment, laugh softly, pretend not to notice when the butter dish wobbles dangerously close to your sleeve. A servant adjusts your chair by exactly half an inch. Too close